The Zambezi River, synonymous with wildlife, adventure, and mystery. It flows 1,600 miles through Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Mozambique, before draining its murky waters into the East African coast. It's right here where several hundred people go missing every year. Why so many? Why right here? Traveling up the river, I've arrived at Lake Kaborabasa, one of the largest man-made lakes in the world, and home to one of the largest croc populations on the planet. I've been handing out notes to fishermen as I go, in the hopes that people will notify me when there's a disappearance or an attack. After several days of searching, I've received my first response.
I've just had a call that somebody from a neighboring village has been taken by a crocodile. I'm not sure any of the details at this stage. I'm just trying to get there before the sun sets. I believe it's this village up here on the corner, I'm not sure. It's chaos. I have no idea what's going on at this stage.
I need to get to shore. Maybe a villager there can shed some light on what has happened. A man says he witnessed the attack.
A girl was taken right here.
He tells me a young wife was taken. They have no guns or ammunition, and he begs me to rescue her. Time is of the essence. If she is to be found, she won't be far off.
I can't see anything going on here. It's impossible to actually see. The water's really, really murky. Right here, it's probably 15 feet deep.
The floating carpet of reeds and the fading light makes rescuing the girl an almost impossible task.
They just seem to be slapping the water out there. They'll very often slap the water and move around in a frenzy like this to try and scare the crocodile into letting the body go. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll pop up with the victim in their teeth.
The boats are dispersing, getting further and further from where the croc is likely to be. There's no order here. I need to get everybody back towards the reeds, closer to the area of the attack.
I've just told them they should come here.
With everyone back where the woman was last seen, the search renews in earnest.
One of them says that they've seen something over there. We'll try and see what it is. He said he saw a hand right here.
I'm Ivan Carter. I'm in the heart of Mozambique, where a woman was dragged into the water by a crocodile. I'm now in the midst of a rescue operation with the community, and I'm hoping to make a difference.
He said he saw a hand. But unfortunately, once again, we've just got this carpet of weed here. And I'm not really sure, to be honest, what he saw, if he saw anything. This guy is her husband, and he's pretty incoherent. Probably getting on towards an hour now that she's been gone, an hour that she's been underwater. The most chance we have now, truly, is to just recover a body. He says those are her flip-flops that she left in his boat.
It's chilling to think, and as I watch the desperation grow in the eyes of her husband and family members, the reality sets in. It's a new day, but I still feel chilled by yesterday's events. They've generated questions. What is it about this area that causes so many croc attacks? I approach a nearby fishing village in search of some clues. These people make their living from the river. I need to find out what they're catching, how they're catching it, and how that relates to the crocodile attacks in the area. Every evening in this village, the men folk go out and they fish. That's not just this village, this is representative of the whole culture. People are getting forced into this scenario where they have to be on the water. Their livelihood depends on the Zambezi River that's flowing in the background here. Fish is one of the cheapest forms of protein there is. This is putting the humans in direct competition with the crocodiles. These guys have just come in. I want to go down and see what they've actually caught during the night. Yoi, yoi. These little catfish have actually got poisonous fins. And so what these guys are doing is before they even attempt to take them out of the net, they break the fins off so that they don't get stabbed by them. Look how careful he is with it before he's broken those fins. It's got very, very fine barbs on it. It's like a thorn, but it's covered in a slime. This fin comes on the back, the teeth exposed from the bottom. If that thing goes in you, you're going to have to cut it out, and it's very, very painful with the slime. Interestingly enough, that's what stops these guys falling prey to crocodiles. The men on the riverbank point me to where they store their catch for the day. In a village without freezers, or even electricity for that matter, fish are laid out on the sand to dry. Later on, these fish will be shipped out in order to feed other hungry villagers. Here's a tigerfish. A big tigerfish is 10 pounds. No big fish at all. So you take this, for example. This is a squeaker. In a lot of places, these aren't even looked at as really very much food value, but the fact that there's so many of these means that this is all that's left. These are all signs of overfishing. I'm shocked at how small much of the catch really is. Has it always been this way? You know, in a country where the average age is 17 and you've got one of the fastest growing populations in Africa, it's actually quite difficult to find an elder. Phineas here, who is in his late 60s, he's an elder for this whole area. He's a very well-respected individual to the area. I'm here to speak to Phineas, find out what it was like when he was a child, and see truly if anything's changed. He was born here right in this area in 1949, just on the other side of the river here. In the old days, they caught a way bigger variety of fish. They caught way bigger fish, and they caught a lot more fish than these days. And just in a couple of hours, they could fill their whole boat, and they had to stop fishing because the boat was full of fish. There were a lot more crocodiles, but they weren't scared of them. They didn't eat very many people. I asked him if long ago the crocodiles ever ate people, and he said not anybody that he knew, but these days, in every village, somebody knows somebody who's been eaten by a crocodile. In the old days, there were more fish and less villagers. Crocodiles were not seen as a problem. Could it be that they're eating so many people simply because there's nothing else? Every single one of these people knows someone that's either been bitten or has disappeared. It's a story that's way bigger than just this village. It's a story of Africa. The wildlife is getting squeezed, and the wildlife in some cases like this is squeezing back. Phineas tells me that he's too old to fish, but he points me towards some men from a nearby village who will take me with them so I can see firsthand what happens out there on the water. If I can go out with these men and see what they're doing, perhaps I can learn a thing or two about what's causing these crocodiles to kill so many people. Well, we've got our dugout canoe all set and ready. We've got about 80 yards worth of net in here. You know, I think this is really the only way that we're going to get to see what these guys are up against. It's pretty black out there. We know there's a lot of crocodiles. So I guess that all that's left is for me to step into this boat and get going. At night, the fish don't see the fishermen's nets. This makes for ideal fishing conditions. Not letting my rifle out of my sight for 1 minute. There we go. But the crocodiles use the darkness as cover. This is the time when they are most likely to attack.
Look at that. Good. Right. Low center of gravity, hopefully, means less chance of capsizing. Man, I don't know if I like this.
I am Ivan Carter. I'm on the Zambezi River in Mozambique. After failing to rescue a woman attacked by a croc, I'm now stepping into the fisherman's world, hoping to learn more about why these attacks are so common.
Paddling out to the fishing grounds. Let me tell you, when you look at how close to the water we are, and knowing that these crocodiles have taken people off a boat, this is quite an experience. Paul, who's in the front of the boat here, has just told me that his brother, about 10 years ago, was eaten by a crocodile doing exactly this.
They were fishing. There was no disturbance or sign of any crocodiles in the water. As Paul's brother leaned down to pull at his net, suddenly a croc erupted from below, took hold of his arm, and pulled him down where he disappeared with no further sign.
This is the perfect time for me to hear a story like that. You know, life really is all about perspective, and as I really think about it practically, from my perspective, holding on to this rifle makes me feel a whole lot better. But if a 15-foot croc came and tried to bite the boat or snatch me off the back, I don't know how much good it'll really do. I know that the rifle would be fast enough, but there's no way that I would be fast enough to get the rifle up if a croc did decide to come. I've started to settle into the feeling of this little wobbly boat, but I'm not settling into the feeling of what's in this dark water here. You don't realize how unstable it is.
Dugout canoes haven't changed much over the previous 8,000 years. They remain heavy and unstable. These people, however, have grown up in the water, and they rarely capsize. It's a lot harder to balance than it looks. The water and the crocodiles are only 6 inches away.
Well, we started pulling the net in. We've got 3 or 4 fish so far. This is the tough part. This is when the crocs are likely to come up to the net to get the fish themselves. Here's another one just coming up into the boat. Another one. That's not making me feel any happier. Banging on the boat like that is to chase away the crocodiles. The men continue to pull in their net and bang on the boat, and I continue to think about what lurks beneath the waters. Crocodilus niloticus, with the ability to grow to over 16 feet in length and weigh in at 2,000 pounds. Fish and wildlife make up the majority of this creature's diet, but in the right circumstances, it's apparent they will also look at man as food.
I need to understand what is triggering the attacks and why they seem to be so prevalent. What better place to observe concentrated crocodile behavior than a commercial croc farm? Crocodiles are farmed for meat and for leather. This particular farm is owned by the Pentolfi family, a family who for the last 30 years has been on the front line of crocodile farming and conservation.
Our challenge is to try and keep them as full and as happy as possible.
Yeah.
And prevent them from competing for food.
Yeah. What better time to be here than at feeding time? What I've already observed is, as the containers of croc food arrive, these crocodiles are programmed to come and start thinking about food. They've just seen and heard the wheelbarrow coming. We're going to watch these guys feeding and just see how these crocodiles react to them getting in the pen with a bucket full of croc food. They've seen things that they associate with food, and already their behavior is incredibly different. Here we go.
I'm Ivan Carter. I'm on a river in Mozambique where several hundred people a year go missing. mostly due to croc attacks. After failing to rescue a woman attacked by a crocodile, I've come to a croc farm to try and establish a behavioral connection as to why and how so many people fall victim to these animals each year here.
We're going to watch how these crocodiles react to them getting in the pen with a bucket full of croc food. They've seen things that they associate with food, and already their behavior is incredibly different. Here we go, here we go.
I'm shocked at the quick and violent reactions of these crocodiles as they see what's associated with food.
Just look at the speed of these animals. Look at how these crocodiles feed. We've really got to take care of our feet. These things will get out and snap at us. They've all associated humans with food here.
Right behind them. Right behind.
Cameraman's stuck right now with a bunch of crocodiles in a feeding frenzy. And this is explaining how important the association with the source of food is to a crocodile.
Banging on the boat. While the fishermen believe this is scaring the crocs, could they in fact be ringing their own dinner bell? My suspicion is that night after night, the crocs have learned to associate the banging with dinner.
If the association is a blue plastic container, they're going to react to that. If the association is a dugout canoe full of nets, they're going to associate that. This tells me a lot. Right from the day they emerge from that egg to the time they're 80 years old, they really are the ultimate predator, aren't they?
We've tried to tame them before, and from the second they come out of the egg until the day they die, they're going to try and bite you. They're never going to be a tame animal. Not going to change them, you know?
The puzzle is coming together. We have observed their reaction to specific stimuli they associate with food. But these little crocs are not man-eaters. I need to see how the bigger crocs, the smarter crocs, react. Relatively speaking, crocs grow more than any other land animal on the planet. They start life at just 3 to 4 ounces, and over the course of 60 to 80 years, they can grow to a weight of a metric ton. But what changes are there, if any, in their behavior?
We are walking into this pen that's probably got close to 100 crocs in here, some of which are in the 14 or even 15-foot range. It's pretty nerve-wracking walking through here with a whole container full of meat.
Crocodiles are finely tuned killing machines, but not necessarily man-killing machines. They are attracted to and react to disturbances in the water, often indicating an animal in distress.
Got a lot of crocodiles starting to ease their way in here. All of these heads are starting to point in this direction. You can see the reaction of these crocodiles is much more about what I'm throwing in there than it is about me. Even these big crocodiles are reacting to the stimulus that they associate with food.
Stimulus, like a hand pulling a net, the splashing of a child, or a woman working along the riverbank. I learned a lot here about croc behavior. Now I'm headed upriver to speak to a man who has a terrifying story. His name is Joseph. He has lived his whole life on this river, a life that was dramatically changed 10 years ago.
He went fishing. The water was pretty deep. It was deeper than he could stand.
Something he believes was a crocodile knocked the bottom of the boat. He fell into the water. Then he felt something very, very strong pulling at his legs.
I am Ivan Carter. Here on the Zambezi River in Mozambique, several hundred people are killed each year by crocodiles. I've traveled to a small village to meet Joseph, a croc attack survivor. I'm hoping that his story can help me better understand the relationship between humans and crocodiles in this area.
He went fishing. The water was pretty deep. It was deeper than he could stand. Something he believes was a crocodile knocked the bottom of the boat. He fell into the water. Then he felt something very, very strong pulling at his legs. But he was able to grab the side of the boat. His friend that was in the boat fishing with him came and grabbed his arms. And for some reason, the crocodile let go and his friend was able to throw him back into the boat. While he was in the water, the crocodile actually got hold of his head, and he's also got some scars on his torso. You can see there's a very deep tooth mark on the side here. That obviously went right down to the bone there. But his legs were completely smashed up. Took him a couple of days to get to the clinic, and they amputated both legs at that time. Sure, every day. Said even now, every day he still fishes. He still does everything that the fishermen do here. Tough person.
Joseph's story is inspiring and telling. Man-eating beasts, an ancient and forgotten fear for most of us in the modern world. And as I'm learning, possibly more so today than in the past. These days, in every village, somebody knows somebody who's been eaten by a crocodile. These crocs are attacking people, on the banks and in the waters.
He felt something very, very strong pulling at his legs.
There are more people today than ever before. Less fish, less wildlife, and therefore more aggressive crocodiles. The fishing here is hard, the fish smaller, and fewer than ever before. The crocs can be triggered into a feeding frenzy. The people believe tapping the side of the boat will chase the crocs away. I suspect it's having the opposite effect.
This is explaining how important the association with the source of food is to a crocodile.
Crocs don't always associate humans with food. They do, however, associate food with humans. More villagers tell me stories of losing friends and loved ones to croc attacks. All of them want justice. They say that they have no ability to kill the crocs on their own, that asking for military assistance is their only option. An option that involves gunboats and mass cullings along the river's edge where the crocs live and breed. To indiscriminately kill hundreds of crocodiles for simply doing what they're perfectly designed to do, surely will make the species the victim. There must be an alternative solution. Before taking a course of action, I need to gather some more information. Where are these crocodiles during the day?
So what we're going to do now is we're going to get up in the airplane. We've identified several incidents along this one stretch of river, and the very best way to identify where the crocodile might be is from the air. The crocodiles are cold-blooded, which means that after they've eaten something, they are going to go and lie out in the sun to digest. So with a bit of luck from the air, we'll get a good view of where they are.
From the air, the incredible labyrinth of channels is the perfect croc habitat. But they're not the only predator here.
Fishing village.
Humans have encroached on the crocodile's habitat. People and crocodiles living in close proximity. It's a deadly combination.
You can see all of these sandbars that they come out on. What we're seeing is that these crocodiles are in little groups on these islands. We won't see any for a while, and then suddenly you'll see 3 or 4 crocodiles all in the same place.
Crocodiles are masters of their environment. They blend perfectly with their surroundings and are almost impossible to find. Their reptilian makeup, however, dictates that they need direct sunlight. Crocs like an area with a lot of cover, a deep channel nearby, and dry land to sun themselves.
From the air, we saw 6 or 7 very big crocodiles here.
Being cold-blooded, it's crucial that they absorb some heat from the sun. This particular spot meets all the criteria. And what's more, there are 4 different villages, each within a mile.
Pretty sinister, cruising slowly into a bay like this, where you've just seen so many big crocs. Oh, there we go. Here's a big track right here. Here is a big crocodile track here. Look at the size of this track. Here's the back of the pad. You can actually see the scales on his foot. These are where his claws have dug in. So from his longest toe, that's about 12 inches on that back foot. This is a large crocodile.
I am Ivan Carter. I've witnessed firsthand a croc attack that took a woman's life. The local villagers want to call in the military, an option that will leave hundreds or even thousands of crocs dead. They say this is the only option. I'm not convinced. I've taken to the air and located where some of these large crocs live during the day.
Look at the size of this track. From his longest toe, that's about 12 inches on that back foot. This is a large crocodile, and he's not very far from here. These animals really are the perfect design. They can stay under the water for over an hour, very sensitive to smell. They see incredibly well, and they've also got fantastic hearing. Even though they've got a tiny little brain, they're incredibly aware of their surroundings, and so getting close to one of these big crocs, identifying it as there it is now, there it is now.
I have the strong and very real feeling that I'm being watched. Am I, in fact, being seen as something's next meal? As darkness falls, we receive word that a funeral for a fisherman, recently taken by a croc, will occur tonight. In the West, we mourn death. Here, it is a celebration of life.
Even though this is just a pinprick on the face of the globe, to these people, this is their whole world. This is a celebration of the life of a fisherman. The Zambezi River was his life, as it was his death.
It's an honor to be included, but tainted for me by what it represents. Another human life has been taken. And once his house burns down, there will be nothing left but memories and ash. The people are demanding blood, and it's not long before they'll take the situation into their own hands. As the embers fade, the village chief suggests an alternative solution. If I kill a crocodile, just one, then the people may be satisfied. This could prevent them from requesting military assistance. I'm unsure. However, the military cannot be the solution here. If I can take this one crocodile, perhaps it will buy the population more time. I am Ivan Carter. I'm on the Zambezi River in Mozambique, a place where several hundred people are taken by crocs every year. I've witnessed firsthand the aftermath of an attack and attended the funeral of yet another croc attack victim. I've been asked by the village chief to kill a crocodile. I head back to where we found the footprint of the large crocodile. Finding the croc is easy. Hunting the croc is an entirely different matter. I'll be using a blind, a hunting technique, in order to hide myself from the crocodile's incredible eyesight.
It's pretty easy to stay quiet so they can't hear you. But staying out of sight now, that's difficult. What I've done is I've taken these branches here. I've got some rocks that are in a kind of a, it almost looks a bit like a coffin. I'm gonna be lying here just like this, completely out of sight. And between all of this vegetation and the camouflage, I'll stay extremely still. From right here, this thing looks good, but the most important thing is what does it look like from a crocodile's perspective? This crocodile's gonna lie right here like this. I can see my blind on the right-hand side. I'll bring a few extra leaves and just break up the outline of the horizon there a little bit from here. Any little tiny movement, they'll pick it up. All we need now is a crocodile.
As the sun rises, I make some last-minute fixes to my blind and prepare my equipment.
This bullet is not going to expand all the way. It's going to expand about halfway, and it's going to open into a mushroom. Just what I need for a big, heavy-boned animal like a man-eating crocodile. Making an accurate shot is also about having the perfect setup and being comfortable as you shoot. All right, this couldn't be a lot better. I've got a Nosler 458. I've got a variable power Trijicon scope on top. The stakes are relatively high with a shot on a croc, and so choosing the right equipment is very, very important, and I believe this combination is absolutely up to it. Now I've got to see if I am. I feel like I'm in a little cave here. I've got a tiny little hole. You can just see out. Very, very hidden, and I just need to stay completely quiet. And hopefully these things won't take long to come in.
The bait is in place, the scent drifting. Crocodiles have an incredible sense of smell, and will smell something like this up to a couple of miles away. After several hours, the first small crocodile appears.
Crocodiles are starting to come in. The small one's just coming to start feeding. Hopefully as soon as he starts eating, others will come in. You can see another one drifting out there in the current. What I'm hoping is that as soon as this crocodile starts to feed, that the others will come in. Okay, they're starting to feed. Now that the feeding has started, there's a whole bunch more coming in through the mouth of the bay. They're just cruising in here at high speed.
Within seconds of the first splash, the area that was just minutes before devoid of life literally becomes alive with crocodiles. The frenzy has begun. I now face a very difficult decision.
Carter's War would like to thank the following people and organizations. Without their help, this program would not be possible.
I am Ivan Carter. I'm lying in a blind on the edge of the Zambezi River in Mozambique, an area where countless lives are being lost to crocodiles. I face a difficult decision. Should I kill a crocodile? The village chief says that if I do, the people in the area will be less likely to call in the military, a measure that would lead to a mass culling of the croc population.
They're all moving around way too much now to make an accurate shot.
The frenzy, both spectacular and terrifying, as these super predators tear and roll, exactly mirroring the behavior I observed in captivity. It's also this behavior that has ended many people's lives in this area. But these are not captive crocodiles. These powerful animals are a product of their environment, an environment that until the arrival of man remained largely unchanged. To what degree can we hold them responsible for acting on their natural impulses? I've acted on behalf of the human element. I've strayed from my core values as a conservationist, but I believe my action today may help save the remaining crocodile population in the area. I returned to the village. The first time I encountered these people was in the pandemonium of a recent attack. I now present them with their nemesis, an animal they have been taught to fear as each of them took their first steps.
Well, we've just brought this croc back to the village, and there's a mixture of elation, surprise, shock. Some of these kids I don't think have even been this close to a big croc that they know of.
I watch quietly as Joseph, who has heard the commotion, comes over and looks into the jaws of the very animal that changed his life.
Well, we're just gonna turn this crocodile over and open him up.
The locals dictate that I must open the crocodile. They want to be sure that this was a man-eater, something I have seen before and have no desire to repeat, but I owe them this.
Oh, Papu. A pair of lungs. I can't even describe the smell. Chicho. Looks like a piece of spine. Msana. Just the remains that are coming out of here. Here's a piece of net, shirt. There's some grisly remains in the stomach there. A big chunk of net and a half-rotting shirt. There's not much you can argue about that. Look how shiny this bangle is from the stomach acids. You know, look at these remains and you realize that taking a crocodile like this out of the ecosystem potentially saves some of these kids that are here. But as you look at the bigger picture, it's hard to really feel like you're making a difference because the human element is growing so fast. This is not a crocodile problem.
This is a human problem. The human element is growing. Croc's habitat and its food is shrinking. And anytime there's conflict between humans and wildlife, the wildlife loses.
The killing of one crocodile is not the answer to end the human deaths in these villages. While I've most certainly bought some time for the crocs in this stretch of river, the crocodile situation here is representative of a far greater picture. Yes, indeed, as I look down on the remains of two victims, one human and one wildlife, one thriving and one threatened. From the perspective of a conservationist, it's the crocodile, the wildlife, whose future is unsure.